want to thank you all for the opportunity to come before you. This has been really inspiring and empowering today. I mean, all of you all over the last few days have given me inspiration. I mean, to the point where, like, this is what I had prepared yesterday. And it's more like bait and switch. I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about this today. I had, and I should back up a little bit too. I'm going to go through these things relatively quickly. I've got some slides that I'm going to go through almost like the credits at the end of TV shows. Go so fast you can't really read them. And I also want to acknowledge, while I'm here at this point, one thing I want to say about the Twin Cities is how unique the Twin Cities are, in that there are artists that are embedded into the political and the governmental structures to ensure that work gets done, that work is integrated into the life of the city. I mean, in addition to me being the first artist in residence in the city of Minneapolis, I want to point out Marcus Young, who's sitting at the table right over here, Marcus is the artist in residence for the city of St. Paul. So there's an artist in residence in St. Paul. In addition, Christine Baumler, who's right here, is the artist in residence for 2 watershed districts in Minnesota, here in Ramsey County, actually, in St. Paul. And that wouldn't happen unless we had support from the top. I mean, this is top down. We've got 2 city council people here that are really arts patrons. The city coordinator who's here, who's been an arts patron. So I just want to acknowledge that. So, I mean, this is a talk for another time. You know, I had text, I had more text and maps, I had historical data, I had drawings, more drawings, and, you know, with all of that, I heard yesterday, I mean, there are some things that happened yesterday that just made me kind of rethink this. One was, like, the presentations were so strong and powerful, I thought, damn, I have to be on my A game. So I had to go back and kind of redo this. In addition, you know, there was this conversation that happened at the end of our tabletop conversations that kind of went on and should have gone on longer. We don't really have, and one of the things that it demonstrated is that we don't have enough forums to really dialogue. And we just need more forums for us to exchange ideas. And really, the other thing, that there was another word that came up that was so powerful that I said, we got to talk about this. So today I'm really not going to talk about all the stuff I've done. I could give you like the dog and pony show, and I did this in like 1995, I did this. I mean, we've all seen those, and I'm not going to do that today. What I really want to do is to talk about what drives me, what drives us all. You know, and like, we should not be ashamed to use this word in public forums. I mean, really, you know, we say this, I mean, it's almost cliche, it's almost corny to talk about love in public forums. But really, when we think about it, that's what drives us all. I mean, really, that's what drives us all. I mean, here, watch how easy this is. Here, stand up, bro. We didn't rehearse that. We did not rehearse it. I mean, that's the power of that. And what feeds this, or what really helps drive this, is this passion. And that's why we do this stuff. I mean, we need to all dig down deep within ourselves. And that's really what I want you to do today. I really want you to dig down deep and ask yourself, why do I do this stuff? You know, why? You know, and that's a question I always get that I ask myself in every one of the projects that I'm a part of. You know, I said, and sometimes it's kind of begrudging, and I think, damn, why did I do this again? But I do it over and over and over, just like all of you all, for this deep passion and love that we have for what Martin Luther King called the beloved community. I mean, that is this ability to share, to exude love, to share love, and to spread that love with each other in different ways. And really, how he defined it was this ability to serve. Martin Luther King described greatness as this ability to serve. And that's what we all do here. We all do it for, I really don't think there are any millionaires, there might be any millionaires in this room, but we do it not for money, but for this love that we have for this beloved community. You know, in addition, you know, he said, I want to change the world. I want you to change the world. And when I say he, I'm really not talking about Martin Luther King or Jesus. I'm talking about our own Jim Stockard. You know, as a Loeb Fellow, Jim's the curator of the Loeb Fellowship. You know, 10 years ago, and these words come back to haunt him now, and they should not be haunting him. But like, you know, 10 years ago, in our first day of our very first orientation, you know, somebody asked, well, what do you want us to do? And Jim said, I want you to change the world. And that gave us all permission to work from that point in time to begin to change the world. And so, like, what I'm going to do today is really talk about two passions that drive me: plants and boats. and how that kind of manifests itself in wanting to change the world, or how I've attempted to do that. You know, so like, I have like been looking at collard greens as this metaphor for really exploring African American culture and different ways. I mean, it's just the hook to be able to begin to do that. Look at cuisine, to look at lifestyle, look at health and nutrition. And so like, this is the shrine that I built at Project Grow Houses over 10 years ago, the collard greens. And the great thing about it is that we set up a book so I could collect collard green recipes from folks that came through there. I did another collard green shrine at Bates College, and then have been also not just working inside the gallery, but outside and planting. This is outside the traffic circle outside the museum at Bates College, where we planted collard greens that ended up going back into the food service of the school. You know, I've sculpted my lawn. Some of you have seen this. It's also, maybe you've even heard me say this, this is like a way that I can also get around just mowing half of my lawn. And that's led into working to try and improve and increase the food security in my own particular little neighborhood in Frogtown. So we have been planting fruit trees. And so on Arbor Day, this is the third Arbor Day event that's coming up at the end of this month, where we're going to plant another fruit orchard in public places to really help decrease the food insecurity of this neighborhood. First pear from this little batch of trees. And boats. You know, I grew up in Minnesota, here in boats. Like, I had these uncles, my father, and we were out fishing every weekend in the summer. And sometimes even in the winter, ice fishing, but not in boats. But we were on boats all the time. And so like, that's drove me. So actually, I should point out to say that a lot of times when we think about black folks, this is the only thing, the only connection we make to boats. But we have, throughout the African diaspora, this strong maritime tradition of boats and boat building. So wherever I've gone, I've hung out with these boat builders, with these folks that fish on water in different ways. I mean, so there are these traditions that span the Atlantic Ocean. This is a concrete boat in Bahia, in Brazil, to Oshun, a shrine. You know, wooden boats in the Caribbean, and in Ghana and West Africa. And so, and looking at these boats, you know, I am going to be going next month to Ghana, and I've actually commissioned a canoe. And so I'm going to be documenting this canoe process as one of the things I want to bring back here as well, too, to this beloved community. And as a part of that, I helped start an organization in St. Paul called Urban Boat Builders. And with Urban Boat Builders, we have been using boat building as a tool for community building. Building youth and boats, or building youth one boat at a time. And so we built solar power boats, dragon boats. I've even used these techniques to create sculpture. This is a steam bending relief sculpture that I created, a steam bent relief sculpture that I created. Most recently, I worked with a group of students at Gordon Parks High School. Gordon Parks High School, named after an African-American artist in St. Paul, where we created a pontoon boat that sat in a pond. This is the launching of it, just to make sure that it actually floated. We created a pontoon boat for an installation at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum that was anchored in place for a month, a full month. And this is a shed on top of this pontoon boat, and it was a way to contemplate the watershed. In fact, it's the name of this thing, it's watershed. And so I still make boats. And so this is the thing that drives me. I love making boats. And this is where I want to leave you all in, is now we really need to think about launching ourselves, taking that risk, and kind of making this next move. Dig down deep, acknowledge why we do this crazy stuff we do. And embrace and exude this love for this beloved community. Thank you.